Well, I came into this world like a fighter on the ropes, like a thumb stuck out in the wind on the shoulder of the road. Some tumbleweed just rolling on, not sure where to blow. With every twist and every turn, I'm learning as I go. Well, I'm learning as I go. I'm learning how to be. I'm learning how, when I break it down, this little that I leave. Say sorry, man, when you need to, and keep a pocket full of hope. I'm still a gun, but I settled some. I'm learning as I go. Took a loose deal in a tight spot, came back to bite me bad. Had a feeling in my gut, but I still shook his hand. He ran with all my money, left me with the bag. Had to sell my truck, couldn't pay the note. I'm learning as I go. I'm learning as I go. I'm learning how to be. I'm learning how, when I break it down, this little that I leave. Say sorry, man, when you need to, and keep my pockets full of hope. I'm still a gun, but I settled some. I'm learning as I go. Still crashing, still burning. This old world keeps turning. Got a roadmap full of scars and a pocket full of hope. I'm learning as I go. I'm learning as I go. Well, I broke her heart on a Tuesday when I spoke the word goodbye. By Friday, I was empty as that 5th of July sky. When I saw her hold that other hand, it's like I saw a ghost. Little too slow on the trigger, oh, I'm learning as I go. I'm learning as I go. I'm learning how to fly. Maybe I might get it right someday before I die. I'm learning as I go. I'm learning how to be. I'm learning how, when I break it down, this little that I leave. Say sorry, man, when you need to, and keep a pocket full of hope. I'm still a gun, but I settled some. I'm learning as I go. As I go, yeah. As I go. As I go, I'm learning as I go. I'm learning as I go. I'm learning as I go. As I go.
Hello out there. We're on the air. I think everything worked today. I hope so. Hold up. We got lots going on here. We got lots going on. Double blue today. I couldn't find my other hat. I almost missed the start of the show here today. Anyways, blue on blue today. Why not? That was our favorite, our all-time favorite musician. Kip Moore, everybody. Kip Moore. And that was actually somebody sent in 2,100 sats for the Bitcoin jukebox. Didn't leave a request. So that was my request. And I'm actually going to double the 2,100 because I can't just sneak in a free song like that, free request. So shout out to, they didn't leave a name, they didn't leave a song, but they donated 2,100 sats to the Rescue Dog Fund. And so that was dedicated to them. That was Kip Moore. He's my all-time favorite artist. Seen him a couple times live. And yeah, he's actually had a pretty big inspiration on my life. Not many like celebrities, musicians, athletes, really, especially nowadays. But Kip has been one of those guys for me from very early on. He's been around a while now. But I just love his whole mindset and his actually the podcast Project Potential. Every episode starts with Kip Moore. he's reading something. I don't know. I don't think it's his words, but he's reading somebody's words. Talking about kind of the quote from that, and it's on my nostr profile too, is that comfort causes the spirit to die. In other words, make yourself uncomfortable. So that's dedicated to Kip. And great song. Learn it as I go. I wouldn't say it's my favorite one of his, but it's one of his newer ones, and I thought it was worth checking out or worth sharing today. So there you go. Yeah, I see Daniel's over in Zapstream. Zapstream's working fine. Letha's over there as well. 2 zaps this morning for hump day. As a reminder, if you'd like to get a hump in today, make sure you either like the show or send a zap. I'd say zaps are pretty much a guarantee. You get a hump in today, but likes, you get a pretty good shot. So Letha zapped 121 sats and Daniel zapped 138 sats. So thank you for that. Both of you. Okay, well, I'm a little bit out of breath. I'm not going to lie, because I was running around everywhere looking for my hat. I don't know where it is. Somebody stole it. Somebody stole my hat. Okay, well, today's show, welcome to the Daily Bitcoin Journey. This show focuses on actionable and logical discussion for Bitcoiners and for future Bitcoiners. And the show today is titled Your Own Personal Bitcoin Journey. So we're going to talk about a couple things. It's going to be a good reminder, I think, for everybody or most people watching the show today. But we'll put that on the back burner for now. We got Ginger in the chat. Good morning, Ginger. Josh, Ontario in the chat. Morning, Arnie and George. Is Arnie here? Where's Arnie? He's hiding. He's hiding. He might show up. Bodie's in the chat. Good morning, Bodie. Timeline too. Have a magical day. Oh, you too. You too. I think it is going to be a magical day today. Every day is a magical day. For real though. Jason, good morning. Mert, one of our newest Bitcoin journeymen. Red Rocket Countdown liftoff. And we got Dale in the chat from QuickBit, our favorite brick and mortar shop on the planet. I think the only one in Canada, but I could be wrong. We gotta get confirmation on that. Is QuickBit the only brick and mortar store in Canada, Bitcoin shop? We need confirmation on that, Dale. Kev009, happy hump day, everyone. Kurt, good morning. Institutions may be accumulating Bitcoin now, but in the future, they will only be able to stack sats like the rest of us. Hey, cheers to that. We're all richer than Microsoft right now. In terms of real wealth, not that fake shit. Rick Robinson, good morning. Rick, smash the like it. Great question. Great question. I think we're only on the 88 SAS channel today because we're going to do a second part of the show today, a follow-up, if you will, from yesterday. I saw quite a few people have joined since yesterday, which is great. The Living in the Future community. We shared our grand vision for the next couple of years yesterday on the Patreon, and I've received some really, really good feedback from that. It just makes a whole lot of sense. That's the thing. If it didn't make sense, I wouldn't be talking about it, and we wouldn't be spending any time discussing it. Duncan's in the chat too. Good morning. We got Lori with a new profile pic. Morning, Lori. Good to see you. Cheers. Coffee. I'm having some coffee from Costa Rica today, actually. I usually try to. Mom and Dad got this. They were just in Costa Rica a couple weeks ago, so they brought me back some coffee, and it is phenomenal. Costa Rica, underrated for coffee. Buck 52,000. Good morning. What do we got from Dale here? Bank of Canada is changing the lines in the fiat measuring stick. Again, super reliable, accurate measuring stick. This is why we Bitcoin. What's the Bank of Canada up to? AAA, does that have something to do with the Canadian bonds or something? Or are you just saying, again? I didn't see anything on that, Dale. A little behind, I guess you might say. Brennan, good morning all. Very grateful to have a sane chat to come to. Hey, that's what we're here for. That's what the show is all about. It's a little bit, we talk about Bitcoin, obviously, but it's just, we got to keep our sanity here in a crazy, crazy world. It's nice to just have some common sense and logic discussions once in a while, right? Garja, hello from Florence. I wish a good day to all. Same to you, my friend, in beautiful Florence, Italy. All right, should we check on the mempool? Let's see what's going on over in the mempool today for the mems. This segment's called For the Mems. Take a picture of yourself here today. All right. We're currently sitting at block height 874260. And if you're transacting on Bitcoin Layer 1 today, you're paying about 17 sats per VByte. Pretty high. I would not recommend sending Bitcoin right now unless you absolutely had to. That's just me, though. I think that's high. I never send in Bitcoin unless it's under 5 sats per VByte. That's just me. Unless I have to. But the winner of that one was Antpool. And looks like the one before that was Marathon. They cleaned up a block there. That's good, I guess. Mara's grown on me a bit. I'm still not a huge fan of them, mostly because they announced that they were going to start mining Caspa. I know that Marathon's like trying to keep up with MicroStrategy. I think they got 40,000 Bitcoin. Pretty good. No, nothing compared to. That's the crazy thing for me. It's like you got MicroStrategy number 1, 400,000 Bitcoin. And then number 2 is Marathon, 40,000 Bitcoin. And then everybody else. So we're going to talk a little bit about MicroStrategy today. But like if you've just been getting into MicroStrategy and you just bought some in like the last couple of weeks and you're worried because it's been going sideways and down and chopping around, like they have 400,000 Bitcoin. Nobody is ever going to come close to that amount, ever. Countries probably won't even. What's the highest country right now? 220,000, I think, the US. Like nobody's catching MicroStrategy. So just like have some patience, just let this thing play out. I'm going to talk a little bit about that again today. But yeah. AJ, do you plan on staying in Canada? A lot of people leaving. Cost of living is nuts here. Heard yesterday Vancouver, 3rd most expensive. I got no plans to leave Canada. I don't. Especially with Trump in office now, I think that that's going to change everything. If Trump would have lost and Kamala would have won, I probably would have started shopping around for places for a new house, new home. But I never want to leave Canada. I've spent my whole life here in the prairies, and I plan on forever. But at the same time, kind of my plan is, and how I want to really structure my life is I want to stay here for about 7-8 months a year and then go to somewhere hot. Hey, there's Arnie. Arnie boy. Hi, buddy. Do you know why? Do you know why I would be leaving? I mean, Arnie would like to stay all year. He loves the snow, loves the cold. But let me tell you how cold it is here today. Minus 31. What do you think about that, Arnie? He loves it. He could probably, it's an extreme cold warning today. It's minus 31 and it feels like minus 41 today. Pretty cold on the yichies, as you would say. So that's my plan. It's too cold. Tom, good morning. Tom, good morning. Great morning to you, my friend. Kev says, my family's from Costa Rica. I sell Costa Rican coffee. Wow. I'll be going there next month. Okay. That's interesting, to say the least. Love that. Costa Rican coffee is unbelievable. Josh says, love that Trumpster is calling Trudeau a governor. Remember, he doesn't like him because he caught him talking behind his back. Stick it to the governor. Yeah, there's something there. Well, we talked about that on the show a couple weeks ago. I said, Trump wouldn't just post a picture like that for shits and gigs. Like, I think that there's something going on behind the scenes. I have no idea what it is. And then he doubled down by calling Trudeau a governor. And all the liberals here are losing their mind. The 5% of Canadians who are in support of Justin Trudeau, losing their mind. Pierre Poilievre seems to be much more Bitcoin friendly. I mean, I'm not putting my chips on Pierre Poilievre, that's for sure. Will he be an improvement from Justin Trudeau? Absolutely. I think that Arnie would, well, I know that Arnie would do a better job than Justin Trudeau. I think that a piece of wood would do a better job than Justin Trudeau. Because at least they wouldn't do anything bad. Like, that's the thing with Trudeau. It's like, it's not that he's making real bad decisions or he's being, things are wrong, things that he's doing are wrong. Like, he's intentionally destroying our country. He's not trying to improve things and failing at it. Like, he's intentionally trying to destroy Canada. And that's a problem. And I really hope that he pays for that in the worst way possible. But, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot that we can do other than talk about it, other than make YouTube channels and do things that way in a legal way. But I hope that justice will prevail. I hope that things will, end up very bad for that man. Because it's not right. It's not right. DCA from Brian. Dollar cost average. It's good advice. But if you're DCAing, make sure that you're using Lightning, not your UTX, not your on-chain wallet, right? That's a big lesson that a lot of people are going to learn this cycle, I think. They're going to be DCAing, $10 a week, whatever it is, $10 a day. And they're just going to keep sending it to their cold storage wallet. And in a year or two from now, once they have a better understanding of Bitcoin, they're going to be like, holy shit, what have I done? So if you are DCAing, make damn sure that you're using a platform that uses Lightning, like Bitcoin well. There's a couple of them. I think Strike also does. I'm pretty sure River does if you're in the US. But make sure you're using Lightning if you're DCAing. Oh, shit. Canadian Central Bank is lowering its interest rates today, thus changing the price of money. I didn't see that. Not good. Not good. Microsoft verdict, have fun, continue towards zero. Yeah. Isn't it funny? The biggest tech company, probably well, aside from Apple, I'd say they're their most, what would you even call them? Iconic tech company that's ever existed. And they're failing. They're failing to recognize the greatest tech innovation in history. They're a tech company, but Bitcoin is the biggest thing that's ever happened in tech and pretty much everything. And they're missing it. So fuck them. All right. As we like to say, have fun staying poor. Have fun continuing towards zero. I think we should change the name of Microsoft to either be Micro Penis or Microsoft Penis. Are we allowed to say that? I don't know. I have to say it every time I upload a video that's not for kids. So I'm assuming that there are no kids watching this today. We got Sunshine over in the Zap stream. Zapped 420 sats. Thank you, Sunshine. Spaceman's over there as well. We got Pasty says, hey, my orange imaginary friends, how the devil are you? I mean, the nice thing about this community is I know that nobody is imaginary. I know that it's all real people. And I know that even though the media and the government like to paint us as either Russian bots or crazy people, I know that these are the real people that, if you got to choose in the real world who you could hang out with, I think that everybody's here. Artisan Tube, good beginner cold wallet suggestions. I was debating between Tangem and OneKey. I know Tangem is mobile only. Beginner cold wallet. Well, if you're a beginner, I would probably suggest looking into a Bitkey, depending on how beginner you are. Like if you're brand new and you're worried about losing your keys, then Bitkey's a pretty good option. The other thing I would say to that, and like I talk about Bitcoin Well a lot on this channel. Obviously, they're a friend of the show, sponsor of the show. But with Bitcoin Well, like they don't hold any Bitcoin, right? As soon as you send them your dollars, your fiat, they turn it into Bitcoin. They don't hold your Bitcoin at all, which is a good thing. I think that, you know, it's not for everybody, but, and that's kind of what I want to say is like, depending on how much you're spending on Bitcoin, depending on where you live, and depending on how much knowledge you have in Bitcoin, that should really determine who you're using to buy your Bitcoin from. Because if you're using a company like Bitcoin Well, and you don't have a wallet or you don't know anything about protecting your Bitcoin, like that's how people get into trouble. I know that within Bitcoin, it's like not your keys, not your coins. So everybody thinks that they should never have any Bitcoin on the exchanges. But like if you did a study of new Bitcoiners who went the route of cold storage right off the bat, and the route that left their Bitcoin on exchange for a little while until they figured things out, I guarantee the people who took it off the exchanges and put it into cold storage too early lost their Bitcoin at a much higher rate than those who just held it on an exchange. So again, I know that Bitcoiners are going to hate this advice. And I know that this is like one of the main rules in Bitcoin is like, get your Bitcoin off the exchanges. And I do agree with that. Once you're at a sufficient level of knowledge in Bitcoin, you should absolutely move your Bitcoin off the exchange. But you can get too far ahead of yourself. And if you don't know what you're doing in Bitcoin, if you don't know the risks involved with holding your own Bitcoin, knowledge-wise, then you can get into trouble. And I've seen it firsthand. I've seen not a lot of people, but several people buy a lot of Bitcoin, move it to a hardware device, and then lock themselves out of that Bitcoin because they didn't know what they were doing. So just be careful with that. So that, I mean, that doesn't really answer your question yet, but I'm getting there. So what I would say to that is if that sounds like you, like if you're somebody who's just kind of starting your Bitcoin journey, like I'd say even if you just started in 2024 and you want to put a big chunk of money in, like it is, you have to be very careful of getting too far ahead of your skis. So if that's the case, if that sounds like you, if you're just brand new to Bitcoin and you want to buy a bunch of Bitcoin, you're like, okay, I get this. It makes sense. Fiat system's dying. Bitcoin is inevitable, going up forever, Laura, kind of thing. Then buy Bitcoin, but use an exchange that can actually hold your Bitcoin there. And I actually met with a guy last night from Caleb and Brown. I was talking about them earlier this week on the show. Really good guy, really good guy. They're over-the-counter exchange, and they've been around since 2016. They encourage people to take self-custody of their Bitcoin, but they'll also hold it. So they actually use a custodian called Fireblocks. And so that's what I would suggest. If you have like a lot of money that you want to put into Bitcoin right away, don't wait to like learn. Don't wait to get a wallet. Just get some and use a company like Caleb and Brown, and they can just hold it for you in the meantime. Like I love that little buffer of you putting in a bunch of money into Bitcoin, and then they'll just hold it for you. Like the odds of them losing that Bitcoin are not zero, but they're very close to zero, especially compared to you trying to do things too fast and, you know, risk losing your funds in the process there, or locking yourself out, forgetting your key, whatever. So again, I think that their minimum is like $500. So if you're looking for a larger purchase, you can just send a bank. The nice thing about Caleb and Brown too is they are an over-the-counter, and you actually get your own personal broker. Like it's not like logging on to Coinbase and you just buy and then they, you know, never talk to you and don't answer your phone calls. With Caleb and Brown, that you actually get your own personal broker. So the fees are a little bit higher, obviously, for these reasons, but like it's pretty nice. So if you want more info on that, just reach out to me. All my information every day is going to be in the show notes here. So again, if you're thinking about a bigger purchase and you don't really want to hold the Bitcoin yet to yourself, So you'll just buy it. They'll hold it for you for a little while until you can kind of get your feet under you, get things set up, and then you move it over from there. But in terms of like a cold wallet, I would say Bitkey would be my number one suggestion. But if you're but if you want to take true cold storage and never connect it to the internet, that kind of stuff, then you can use the Jade. I think a Jade's a really good beginner wallet. Cold Card's great too, but they can be a little bit challenging for new people. So that's why I like this starter kit from QuickBit. Dale was in the chat here this morning. He owns QuickBit in Regina. And so you can actually, in the show notes below, it says Bitcoin starter pack. And you can see this. You can get a Jade and you get the stamp seed as well. So if you're interested in that, just use the code 88SATS, 88SATS. And, very reasonably priced. This is kind of like the main thing, the stamp seed. That's the expensive part of this kit. But you absolutely need to have your private key on titanium. So this is a great wallet for beginners. It never connects to the internet if you do it properly, and very easy to use. So that's what I would suggest to the Artisan Tube. Check that one out. And again, make sure that regardless of what device you're using, your main stack, that wallet, you have that private key on steel or titanium. This is steel, or titanium, I mean, which apparently is better. Either or though, steel or titanium. Yeah, send in some sats here, folks. Help us pay the heating bill this month. Good God. Minus 31 degrees Celsius. It feels like minus 41. And I'm not lying either. Like this is no joke. Oh, we dropped a degree. Here, I'll cover my 30 degrees feels like 40. Nice. That's what you want, right? Thrago, good morning. AJ says, damn, I had no idea about DC to Lightning. Yeah, I mean, that's it's where a lot of people get burned. Honestly, I've been burned myself. I spent 2 years and maybe almost 3 years in Bitcoin before realizing that I shouldn't be sending so many transactions to my cold storage. Bodhi says the worst thing is to self rug pull. Absolutely. That's what I'm talking about. So lots to consider there. I mean, unfortunately, because everybody's at kind of a different point in their Bitcoin journey here, I can't really dial in too much on one thing at a time. So like if you hear things and you're like, okay, that doesn't really make sense, or shit, I'm doing that wrong, or I want some more information on that, just shoot me an email and we can set up like a 10-15 minute call quickly, see where you're at, see where you want to go, and see how we can help you get there in the most safe and efficient way possible. I'm happy to help. I just can't service everybody on a live stream. I think you know that, right? Pasty says, what happens to the business model of Bitcoin when there's no more Bitcoin to sell? Well, I think you really have to look out far enough and just understand like the dynamics of how Bitcoin's going to work, right? So everybody worries about in 100 years from now when the block subsidies end, when the whole world's literally fighting over one sat to mine. So you have to understand that in that scenario, like the miners are going to be absolutely cleaning up because they're going to get all the transaction fees, right? And I think that the transaction fees at that point will be microsats and then millisats or however you go down, but it's just going to keep going that direction, right? As Bitcoin, sats, microsats all become more valuable, like the purchasing power of all those things will increase significantly. So I'm not worried about the fact that there's not going to be any more Bitcoin to sell. There might not be a whole lot of Bitcoin floating around, but there's going to be a ton of sats, right? And it's the same kind of thing. Even if people aren't buying like 10, 20, 100 Bitcoin, they're still going to be buying 100,000 sats or 500,000 sats. But that's just going to go a whole lot further in terms of purchasing power. And so then their fee on that, obviously, if you take like maybe 5,000 sats as a fee, that 5,000 sats is going to be worth a lot more than it is today. So I don't think that in our lifetime, we're going to have to worry about that. The one thing though that, yeah, I don't know, it's tough. They'll have to evolve. And I think that Bitcoin itself and businesses within Bitcoin are all going to have to evolve as this thing moves forward. So it's definitely not going to be Bitcoin Well or Bitcoin Journey. It's going to be everybody in Bitcoin is always going to have to evolve with what's coming. Hey, Plunger's over there. Plunger's in the chat this morning and has zapped 100 sats for hump day. So Plunger is again humped today. That's good news for him. Oh, yeah, we got a couple zaps coming in here too on the lives on the YouTube chat. Oh, a lot. Oh no, these are from, I forgot that this wallet's now connected to Zapstream. But I do see 714 sats that didn't show up over here. It says keep up the good work. So thank you for that. That was a YouTube QR code zap. And 888 sats. Oh, and another one just came in too. Hold on. Zaps are flowing today. Somebody sent 888 sats for the Arnster. Keep the chaos going, little buddy. You hear that? Keep the chaos going. I like him better right there, where I can see what he's up to. You know, he had a couple different instances last week where he's breaking shit behind the scenes. Spaceman zapped 121 sats too as well. So thank you, Spaceman. All right, let me catch my breath here a little bit. Mert says, sorry, what is Lightning? Mert, I would say, well, I mean, I can try to explain a little bit on here, but without getting technical at all, there's Bitcoin layer 1. That's like the mempool. That's when you send a transaction. That's when you set a transaction fee. That's when you have to wait. Goes into the mempool. And then when you pay a fee high enough, it gets put into the block, and that's where it lives forever. That block, that new ledger, updated ledger, gets broadcast to 20,000 people plus around the world. And that's the Bitcoin network. That's layer 1. Layer 2 sits on top of that. So you actually have to move Bitcoin off of layer 1, pay a transaction fee, move it onto Lightning. But when you're on Lightning, it's very fast. You don't need to wait for confirmations. Everything settles instantly on Lightning, not onto layer 1, but on Lightning. So it's cheaper, faster. And that's kind of what we use for like the zaps. That's what we use for, that's the best way to DCA. That's how people buy things on the internet. And that's what we'll be using like in the future when businesses accept Bitcoin, or a lot do already, but they'll be using Lightning. Because, you know, if you just compare, let's use an example of a restaurant. Let's say that a restaurant accepts Bitcoin. And so you have two options there. You can pay on layer 1 or you can pay on Lightning. Layer 1, you could still pay it. You scan the QR code, you send them, you copy and paste the address, you send the amount. But with that, you actually have to wait. You have to set a transaction fee and you have to wait until that transaction gets put into a block. So you could be there for 10, 15, 20, an hour waiting for that transaction to confirm. That's on layer 1. So nobody's going to do that, right? Doesn't make any sense. It's slower. It costs you more. But with Lightning, you can just pay it instantly. Like people are sending zaps into this QR code and I receive it within seconds. So you don't have to wait. It's cheaper. There's no fees on it. There's a very small fee for some wallets. So it's a much faster, cheaper, and easier way to use Bitcoin, but it's hot, which means that you don't actually hold the keys to it. You're just, somebody else is holding the keys to these different Lightning nodes, and you're just sending it between that. So, I mean, what I would say is if you don't know what Lightning is, I would take some time to play around with it. Check out the speed wallet. I've been talking about this for the last couple days here on the show, but I think it is worth trying for everybody. And that's kind of what I would suggest. If you're somebody who's just kind of like, what the hell's Lightning? How do I use it? You just have to play around a little bit. I mean, I wouldn't recommend spending 3-4 hours on watching Lightning videos. Just get a Lightning wallet and start using it. And consider like the sats that you spend and waste and whatever else as an investment in your education for it. So the one thing I would say to that is regardless of which Lightning wallet you're using, especially if you're just new to this, don't ever keep more than like 10,000 sats on a wallet at a time. I've been playing around with eCash over the last little while, and I've lost a couple instances. I've lost 10, 20,000, 30,000 sats doing it. So I don't like that, but it's just the cost of my education learning it. But anyways, go to the Speed wallet. Like go to your app store, whether that's on Apple or Google, and just type in Speed wallet. And when you you'll have to put an email address in. You don't have to verify your identity or anything like that. You don't have to upload a picture of yourself. But so you have to put in your email, and you'll have to put in your password. And then at the bottom of that same screen, it's going to give you it's going to give you a place for a referral code. So put that in there. I think you get like 500 free sats for using that referral code. So that's EPN SI5. EPN SI5. Put that in as your referral code and you get like 500 free sats, I believe. And just play around with it. Just play around. There's other Lightning wallets, including Coinos, including Aqua Wallet. I would just download all of them and just start playing around. Figure out what works. Get a Lightning URL. That's what you're going to need for like nostr and stuff like that. And just play around. That's the best way to educate yourself on Lightning, is just by downloading some wallets and playing around. I always got a kick out of the fringe minority thing, when it was so obvious that was actually the fringe minority was actually the dummies with purple hair and masks on. But they definitely made people believe that they were alone. Anyways, I like this one. Microsoft new ticker is now HFSP, which means have fun staying poor. So true. What a bunch of dipshits. Microsoft is a bunch of 0-hour dipshits. Hold on, I gotta plug my phone in here. Should make this a little bit more accessible, but it's kind of tough. I'm gonna be remodeling this office, not because I want to, but Bridge thinks we need to. I don't know. I think people, like how crazy it is back there. She's like, we need to get some bookshelves built into the wall, some other stuff in there. I'm like, I don't think people watch the show because they want to see a nice background. I think they're just listening for, some entertainment and education purposes. But anyways, I'll let her do it. And I'm sure it'll look a lot better than it does today. Bodie, 421 sats for future things that get broken by Arnie. He's not really a threat right now. He's sleeping. He's resting up for his future snow session today. All right. Well, we got a lot of comments here, so we might turn this show into a Q&A, like we often do. I don't know. It's just good to talk through this stuff, and I think that some people will already know this kind of stuff, but it's never a bad thing to discuss, debate. And I think as many touch points you can have and as many connections that you can make, the better off you're going to be in your Bitcoin journey. Currently, my Bitcoin is in Wealthsimple. Any thoughts on them? I feel like it's a pretty good option as a beginner. Yeah. I mean, it's better than nothing. right? It's better than nothing. That's what I'll say. And I know that Wealthsimple does let you take your Bitcoin off of there. But I mean, if you have a significant amount, I would say that if you have more than like 1 million sats, you shouldn't be keeping it on Wealthsimple. It's fine if you just want to dabble once in a while, and it's very easy to do and easy to use. But like, you know, I think the risk of Wealthsimple is much greater than a Bitcoin Well or something. Like Bitcoin Well doesn't even hold your Bitcoin, so there's no chance of them rug pulling you. Parker says the worst option available. I don't think that this is the worst option available, but I mean, like, there's much better than that. And I would strongly suggest Bitcoin Well. Bitcoin Well, just play around a little bit with it, because with Bitcoin Well, you can set up a recurring buy. That's my favorite thing. That's what I do. So every week, I think it's $20. I don't even notice it. It comes out of my bank account. Here, I'll show you, because it's, you know, I think that it's great to talk about self-custody, and it's great to talk about hardware devices. But like, if you can make a lot of mistakes on the platform that you use as well. So I think that this kind of stuff, especially like the UTXO and the Lightning stuff, is very important for new people. And I wish that I would have had somebody explain this to me when I was first getting into Bitcoin. It would have saved me a lot of headache, a lot of stress, and a lot of sats. So here's what you do. This is what you do on Bitcoin Well. This is the best way to DCA, in my opinion. And if you're not in Canada or in the US, there should be somebody in your country or somebody else like this who you can do this with, maybe Strike. But I like Bitcoin Well. So basically what you do here is you go into your Bitcoin Well account, you click recurring buy on the side, and then you add this information, like it gives you this, a Playo finance technology. You just copy that. You go into your online banking, you go to set up a new payee, just like you pay off like your credit card, like you pay your utility bills. You add Bitcoin Well as a payee in there. Using this information, you just copy it, paste it into your online banking. And then in your online banking, it'll ask you if you want to do it weekly or maybe daily, weekly, monthly, or annually. So that's your desired frequency. And then you choose your amount, how much you want to spend, 15, 20, 50, 100 bucks every week or every month. And then you just have to set up your Lightning wallet in here. So you can do that through manage account and then wallet management. You just have to have a Lightning address here. You can get that at Speed Wallet. You can get that at Coinos, Wallet of Satoshi if you're in Canada. And then you just put your Lightning address in there. And then every time the money comes out of your bank, they'll automatically send you Bitcoin to your Lightning wallet. And you can build up a balance in there of like 100,000, 150,000 sats. And then you move it to your cold storage. That's why it's good to use Lightning for smaller amounts for your DCAs. And Bitcoin Well is the best option to do that. So once again, just in case you're not, I know that a lot of people here are using Bitcoin Well now, but you can see the address at the bottom there, bitcoinwell.com/Jor. All right, what else we got here? I was thinking about this, Captain Codeman. -30 equals time to turn on more miners. And the reason I was thinking about this is because last night I knew that this extreme cold warning was coming. So I was, you know, we're quite a ways out here where I live. And I wouldn't say that we're set up perfectly in case of like the power going out. And, you know, in the summertime, it would be okay because, you know, we wouldn't freeze to death, but all of our food would be wrecked. In the wintertime, our food would be fine. We could just throw it outside or just leave it in where it is. But like we would, you know, be cold, very cold. So I was thinking, like, if you got a generator and a miner, could you not just hook up the miner to the generator, earn some Bitcoin, and heat the house while the power's out? I mean, it'd be very loud, very annoying. But I feel like there's something there. rather than like having to hook up your whole house's power grid to your generator, you could just plug in a Bitcoin miner and keep yourself warm. I don't know. What do I know? Timber Crasher, good morning, Bitcoiners. Joining in a little late, welding today instead of running the CNC. I'm in the fiat mine trying to stack sats. That a boy. That a boy. I mean, this is a great point too from Plunger. I didn't even consider the fees here, but Plunger says, I used Wealthsimple a couple of times. They're good to start, but their fees are atrocious. So their fees and the fact that, you know, I just don't trust Wealthsimple. I don't trust that they have all the Bitcoin that they say they do. A lot of these brokerages, they just keep like, you know, it's unless you actually own a UTXO, it's all just fake things moving around. Literally. And that's the case with Lightning. That's the case with exchanges, any exchange, not just Wealthsimple. But until you actually have a UTXO that you can see and verify yourself, it's all just fake. Even Bitcoin. Even if Wealthsimple tells you you have this amount of Bitcoin in your wallet, you don't have it. It's just fake. It's just numbers that they're moving around. They have like a pool of cash, they have a pool of Bitcoin, and then they just sell things back and forth very quickly and charge you fees on it. So that's all exchanges. That's why I like Bitcoin well, because they don't keep your Bitcoin at all. They have it. As soon as you send it, they send it to you. There's no pools there. There's no fake shit moving around. And a company like Caleb & Brown, who I mentioned earlier in the show, like they actually do have cold storage. They use a custodial called Fireblocks. So they actually have the Bitcoin as well that you can take out anytime. But like exchanges like Coinbase, like Wealthsimple, Kraken, I think is okay. And I probably shit on Kraken too much, more than I should have. But it's all just fake stuff moving around. It's just numbers. It's just basically fiat, in my opinion. Hey, Derry Duke. Hi, bro. Hello. 2 degrees above today on the beach of White Rock, BC. That's wild to me. Same country. One's -40, one's +2. How does that happen? Derry Duke. I'm trying to stack as much sats as I can. Do you think 1 million sats is enough in 15 years? I mean, don't put timelines on anything. Just convert fiat to Bitcoin every chance you get. And don't worry about the balance. Don't worry about how much it costs. As long as you can convert fiat into Bitcoin, do it. And over time, like just say that you did that for 15 years. Like you might have way more than 1 million sats. You might have less, but that doesn't matter. The intention is that you're adding value. You're earning either fiat or Bitcoin. And if it's fiat, you're converting that into Bitcoin. If you're earning Bitcoin, then you're just holding on to that. But don't put a timeline on it. Don't put 15 years. Just say for the rest of your life, you're going to be converting fake money into real money. That's it. Simple as that. Muslim Bitcoiner says, what's your favorite node? Umbrel, Start9, Raspberry Blitz, or Rasppi Blitz? I've never used any of them. I have one sitting right here. Look at this sexy device. This was the first time in a long time I actually bought something for myself. As you can tell, I wear mostly free shirts or shirts I've purchased from Value Village. So I'm not a big spender. I've been trying to get as many sats as I possibly can because I know where we are right now in the timeline. But I did go out of my way to buy this thing. And now I just got to set it up. So I'm going to be looking at a couple people in the Living in the Future community to help me with that. But look at this thing. This thing is pure sex. Well, I'm making a huge mess now. It's got a lot of ports, which means that it's probably pretty hard for me to figure out. But actually, I did a little bit of research on it. I think you just need to plug in the power and the Ethernet cord. And then I think you can just use the other stuff if you need. But very, very sexy device. And I'm excited to start running my own node. That was my goal for 2024. My only goal, I think, in Bitcoin was to start running my own node. So I got 3 more weeks. So if you're looking at purchasing like a Start9 or something to run your own node, and I'm not doing it so much to run my own node. I'm doing it now because I see where this whole thing is going, and I've been listening for the last year, listening to people tell me that I can earn Bitcoin using something like that in the future, where you can actually collect all your data instead of it going to like a centralized server for somebody else to store and sell. You can just take your own data, and in the future, you'll be able to actually monetize that data for Bitcoin. So that's why I did it. I mean, Bitcoin node is going to be great, but I just want to really get familiar with the whole structure of it, play around with it, learn everything I can about it. And then when that time comes, I'm going to be ready for it. I'm going to be way ahead of the curve. So if you're looking at a Start9, make sure you use the code 88SATS, 88SATS, because it gets you 5% off, which is about I think it saved Letha about $60 US. Hey, $152,000 just bought the multi-sig bundle from Crypto Boutique. Wow, there you go. That's awesome. I mean, I don't really have to tell you this, but just make sure that before you get too far ahead of yourself with the multi-sig, actually, let's dive into this for 1 second here. I think this is an important conversation because I've been getting a lot of questions from people on multi-sig, lots of emails about it. So the one thing I would say on multi-sig is make sure that you know what you're doing before you start doing anything. That's the first part, is that with a multi-sig, you're going to have different devices in different locations, right? You're not going to, with a multi-sig, basically what that means is you need 2 out of 3 keys at least. So consider like a Jade, Blockstream Jade. That's a single signature setup, right? So if you just had a Jade, you connected to a Sparrow wallet, and you needed to sign a transaction with your Jade, that's a single signature. You only need one device to do that, to move the Bitcoin. With a multi-sig, you need at least 2 signatures from that to move Bitcoin, to send a transaction. So it doesn't really make sense for you to have like 2 devices in your house, because that kind of defeats the whole purpose of the multi-sig. If somebody got into your house, they have 2 keys, they can move the Bitcoin. So with multi-sig, you actually have to have different devices in different locations for it to be used properly. So if you don't have 2 other places in your life, it doesn't have to be like a friend or anything. If you have like an office or a lawyer or a safety deposit box, you can do that. But just make sure that before you get into the multi-sig stuff, that you have actually at least 2, probably 3 locations that you can trust with your hardware device. It is great though. I highly suggest anybody who has more than like 50 million sats to start looking into multi-sig. But again, don't get too far ahead of yourself. Do some research on it. And it's a very valuable way to, again, if you have a lot of Bitcoin, more than 50 million sats, I highly suggest you start looking into it. But just take it slow. And the other thing I was going to say on that is, like, let's say that you do have 50 million sats or a Bitcoin or 2 Bitcoin, whatever that is. And you're like, okay, well, I understand I need a multi-sig, but I don't want to move too fast. I would still suggest here, as $152,000 has done, I know that they're quite knowledgeable in the Bitcoin space, but I would still suggest like getting yourself something like this, like $152,000 did. Even if you're not ready, even if you hold on to this for like a year and you don't use it, but you just have the devices, you start learning about it, and then you set up your multi-sig after that. But the reason I would suggest getting it like sooner than later is because I'm thinking as the demand increases, like over these next 12 months, there's going to be a lot of people looking for hardware devices, a lot, right? And so either these manufacturers are going to run out or they're going to run up the prices. I'm guessing. This is just purely, how I see things. This is just economics. The demand goes up, the supply goes down, the price usually goes up. Or you can't get them, period. The supply runs out. So just consider that with this bundle from QuickBit as well. You get the cold card Q, which is pretty sexy itself. I love that device. I also love the MK4, but I like the looks of this Q. So you get the cold card. You get 2 Blockstream Jades. So that's your three keys. And then you get also the stamp seed in that, with a couple extra plates to put each one of your private keys on. So I think it comes with 3 plates. Two extras, yeah. So you get the original titanium plate with the stamp seed, and then 2 additional titanium seed plates with that. So you get all that for $950 Canadian. And if you use the code 88SATS, you get 15% off of that. So that's like, what would that be? $800. And then American, that would be like $550 for all that American. So something to consider there. If you're interested in that, again, if you have more than 50 million sats, I would suggest just getting that. And don't rush it. Hold on to it for a while. You can hire myself or Bitcoin Citadel to help you get it set up. But yeah, just don't underestimate how quickly this is all going to move, like in terms of the demand coming into Bitcoin. And there's only so much of these available right now. So either the price is going to go up, or they're going to run out of hardware devices. Or depending on what country you're in, your government might say no more hardware wallets coming into this country. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying it could very easily happen. Tommy D, good morning. Captain Codeman says you can run your own Lightning node so you hold the keys. Yes, absolutely. And I think Phoenix is probably the best, or Zeus, to do that. Or if you have a Start9, you can run a Lightning node on there with one of those connections. But definitely don't do that if you're just getting into Lightning. That's a horrible idea. Tartafuna. Phoenix. Yeah, I agree with that. Phoenix is the best self-custody Bitcoin Lightning wallet for sure. Jason says Wallet of Satoshi. If you're in Canada, Wallet of Satoshi, Speed Wallet, Coinos. Oh, look at this, Kev. I got my order yesterday from QuickBit. I just sent you an email as well to see if I qualify for the free consult or not. Okay, I'll get back to you today, Kev. Thanks for letting me know. Maze Man, what part of Canada do you live? Huh. Yeah, right. I'm going to tell you. Just kidding. I'm in the prairies. I'm in the cold part of Canada. Oh, you know what? I see Josh's comment here. I realize that we haven't even done our giveaway yet today. So let's give away some Bitcoins. Some sats. That's been a hot debate lately. Should we call them sats or Bitcoins? And we're not going to get into that today. We're going to give away some Bitcoin instead. All right. So get your Speed wallet out. Get your Lightning wallets, your Wallet of Satoshi, whatever you use. Take it out right now. Oh, Josh. So he says, hey guys, how do you redeem the sats from their wishing well? Can't quite figure out how to move them to my Lightning wallet. Josh, go to your manage account on the left side, go to wallet management, and make sure that you go to add a wallet, and then you add your Lightning address in there. And then it should just automatically, when you go to cash out your sats, it should just automatically go to whatever your payout settings are at for a Lightning wallet. If that doesn't work, just reach out to me and I'll help you through it. I don't mind. I got nothing but time. Just kidding. Okay, should we give away some sats? I think so. All right, we ready? We set? Go. What do we got today? 500 sats. We're on a 500 sat coldie right now. Hey, and I see we got 88 sats from Duncan. Happy hump day. And somebody sent in 69 sats as well. Who might that have been? I don't know. Anyways, that's got to be done now. Okay, 9:19. I want to do a second part of the show today. All right, we got some time. James Bond is in the chat. Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Bond. Brennan says, have you seen that recent interview with Samson Mao, where he suggested that the U.S. would rebase the dollar to equal 1 sat within Trump's administration? I haven't seen that. Samson's a pretty bullish guy. He might even be more bullish than me, but I don't know if that's possible. But no, I haven't seen it. I do believe that, though. I don't think there's any question about that. It's just a matter of time. That's the thing with Bitcoin. It's not a matter of if, but when. All right, I'm trying to keep up here, folks. Trying to keep up with the chat. Hey, Ian. Good morning, Ian. Hi, friends. Happy stacking. Well, we hit 100K on the air. That's a good question. What are we at right now? I didn't even do the metrics today. Because who cares? Oh, we did. Look at that. Back at 100K. Whoop-de-doo. Last week, everybody was trying to do live streams to catch the 100,000. And now it's just another thing that happens. Jason got his too. Got to start 9, I believe. There we go. We're moving in the right direction here, community. Captain Codeman has an umbrella and says it's great. There you go. Bond says multi-sig doesn't mean that when I want to transfer to cold card, I need 2 to 3. No. When you want to transfer to your wallet, you need 2 or 3. So you can actually use cold card will be one of the signing devices that you use. So in this case, you'd have the cold card queue and you'd have 2 Blockstream Jades, right? Those are each signing devices, which means that you have to prove that it's you, enter your code in, sign the transaction, and then the wallet knows that it's actually you sending it. So in that case, you need to have a cold card to sign and a Blockstream Jade to sign, or 2 Blockstream Jades. But either way, you need 2 out of 3 signatures on these devices to move it to your cold storage wallet. So no Bitcoin's actually held on the Blockstream Jade or on the cold card. I mean, if you really want to get technical on it, it's not really stored anyways. You just have the keys to unlock that Bitcoin. And that's what the sign device provides. You have the key to it, you can move it. Ozekin, I sent you 69 sats just to test the speed wallet. I got it. I see it here, 69 sats. So thank you for that. Speed wallet works. Dale, we will ship the multi-sig with love and ship today. See? That's what I'm talking about. Because, everybody says, why would I order from QuickBit instead of CoinKite? Or why would I order from QuickBit instead of Blockstream? And that's a perfect reason. That's one of the reasons, is the shipping. It's not going to sit there for a couple weeks and go through a whole bunch of different people. They're just going to send it today. So that's one. Plus, if you want to call and talk to somebody, good luck talking to Blockstream. Whereas if you use an authorized dealer like QuickBit, then you can just call them and say, hey, got my device. I'm setting it up. I'm running into this issue. Can you help? And if not, then they'll tell you where to go. And they won't tell you to go to hell, but they'll tell you where to look. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like, make sure that it is advanced. It's not an easy thing to do. And the more seed phrases and passphrase you have, the more likely you are to lose Bitcoin. And I'm sure even in my own setup right now, there's probably going to be Bitcoin that I lose because I have, too much going on. So just be aware of that. It is not an easy thing to do. Proceed with caution and take your time. You just don't want to get too far ahead of your skis in Bitcoin. That's how you lose. That's how you lose. And you don't want to lose. You want to win. Oh, look at that. All right. Is this an offer for everybody? Dale? Dale says, Buck, call our office and we will send you 10 USD in liquid for the purchase. Awesome. Compliments of Blockstream. See, this is the kind of stuff you get. You get same day shipping. You get the guy sending that is literally in the chat and sending you $10 for free in liquid, which is Bitcoin, essentially. Definitely get familiar with the regular single sig first. 100%. 100%. All right. So once again, I mean, we talked a lot about a lot of things there in the last 20 minutes. But if you're interested in getting the Jade itself with the stamp seed or the multi-sig bundle, you can just look at the show notes and my link is there, and make sure you're using the discount code. Otherwise, you're going to pay full price. Why would you do that? So use 88 sats, SATS, to get 15% off of your purchase. And if you need help ever, just reach out to me. I'm happy to help. Might take a day or two, but I'll get back to you. Okay. Well, we're an hour into this thing. So how are we doing? Somebody left a nice comment on my YouTube channel yesterday saying that I talk too slow, saying that I should learn how to speak better and I should talk 1.5x faster than I do. So for that person out there, you know what we say. Go fuck yourself. You don't like it? There's a lot of YouTube channels out there, my friend. Lots of them, and you can just keep scrolling. That's it. Okay, let's get to a bit of news and get to the main point of what I wanted to talk about today. Has there been any news? I don't know if I sent this or not. Oh, shout out to everybody who's joined Living the Future in the last 24 hours. Wow. Pretty impressive. And if you are one of those people who joined, just give me like a day here. I'll get you all the information you need. I'll get you the Signal chat info, the Discord, and everything you need to be part of the crew. Okay, just let me send this email here. While we wait for that email, I would suggest, like, I did an hour video. I posted it on the channel yesterday on the Patreon feed, talking about the future of this channel, the future of our community over there. And the thing that I, you know, from the day I started this channel, I had a much bigger vision than just me sitting here talking to people on the internet. That's how I wanted to start the community and grow it. But I had much bigger plans for this community itself. And so just joining Living in the Future, it's $5 a month, and you have 80 plus, it's probably closer to 100 now, people in there, Bitcoiners, who you can talk about Bitcoin all day with. You can ask questions, you can bounce ideas, you can, if you're having issues with anything, you just throw it in the chat and somebody's going to answer for you. And it's not always me. And so I'm just kind of the guy that brings people there, right? And so I didn't think that it was fair that I'm the only beneficiary from that. And so what we're actually doing now, and I'm not going to talk about this a whole lot, but I figured, you know, today's okay because we're going to jump over there after and talk about it more. But it's actually, we're going to flip everything. So because it's the members itself, the Living the Future members are the ones who really bring value to the community, not just by being there, but by helping people, sharing resources, stuff like that. So they're actually going to be the beneficiaries of this in the longer term. So I got a whole plan of how that's going to work. It's going to be, and it's not so much passive income. There's going to be payouts every year in Bitcoin, dividends, but it's not passive income. Like you're going to have to contribute or you're going to have to grow the network. And, but even by being here, like nothing, the fact that you're here today watching this, there's nothing passive about that. You're taking the time, you're voluntarily taking the time to educate yourself on Bitcoin, to learn as much as you can, to help protect your family's wealth into the future. And so you should be rewarded for that. And the more you learn, the more you can help, the more value you can add to this community. And so that's why it's going to be flipped in a little while from now. So if you're interested, I'll give you some time because we are going to jump over there in about 10 minutes, I'd say. And I'm going to answer some questions from people about this idea and talk a little bit more about it. And we're going to talk about some quantum AI stuff as well. So if you want to join, in the show notes, it says join Living the Future. Jump over there. You can just join the $5 tier and see what you think. You can always cancel after 7 days if you watch the video and realize it is not, you're not into that. It doesn't make sense to you. That's fine. Zero risk. But I think you're going to love it. I love it myself, and I'm actually going to be losing from it. But that's, I'm going to be losing but winning overall. So check that out. It's at the top of the Patreon feed if you join. You can go there later today and watch it. It's titled Major Announcement, 8 Satoshis. Hey, Kev just joined the community today. Well, make sure you check out that video, Kev. I think you're going to be pretty pumped. And just the last thing I'll say on that is that there's going to be a hard cutoff. So I'll probably talk about a little bit between then and now. But everybody who's a member of that community on December 31st, that's the cutoff. So if you've been thinking about joining, if you're a procrastinator, you're going to wake up in January and say, fuck, I missed it. So the cutoff, hard cutoff, December 31st, 2024, in about 20 days from now. So that's where I'm going to print out the list of all the members, and that's who's going to be the new part of this future venture here. Letha says, you will love living the future. I've learned so much. And that's the thing. Like it's not all from me. I'm thinking Letha has probably learned more from other people than she has from me. And that's why I think it's not only important, but the right thing to do, to give it back to the people who have built it. So thank you, Letha. Hey, Bunny. Bunny. What a great name. What were we going to watch here? What did I have on the agenda? Oh, yeah, that's for the second part. Oh, I want to watch this. We've been on a little trend of watching dummies on TV on Bitcoin. So we might as well keep it going. Just some more 0-hour dipshits for you here. And if you're new to the channel, 0-hour dipshits are people who have spent 0 hours learning about Bitcoin, but think that they have an opinion on it or should have an opinion on it. So here's the former SEC official, John Reed Stark, telling 60 Minutes that Bitcoin makes the most horrific crimes in the world easier to commit. Let's hear it, John.
Crypto is a scourge. It's not something that you want in your society. It has no utility. It's just pure speculation. Remember, there's no balance sheet to crypto. There's no financial statements.
You're talking about SEC filings. There's no public.
Hold on. Let's just stop it right there early on here. John just said that there's no balance sheet in crypto. All right. Bitcoin is literally a balance sheet. That's what it is. It keeps track of who owns what. It's a giant, open, transparent ledger for the world to look at and verify themselves. It's literally a balance sheet. And so keep in mind when you're talking about Bitcoin, there's Bitcoin, the currency, and there's Bitcoin, the network. And Bitcoin, the network, is literally a balance sheet, a ledger that's open that everybody can verify. That's what it is. So how do you say that there's no balance sheet? And to crypto, of course, it mix in crypto.
There's no balance sheet to crypto. There's no financial statements.
You're talking about SEC filings. There's no public disclosure mandate.
Exactly. Nothing, but also there's no audit, inspection, examination, net capital requirements.
The Bitcoin network actually audits itself. There's no auditors because you don't need auditors. That's why it's called triple entry accounting. That's what got me into Bitcoin, was this realization the fact that every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network audits itself. And how does it do that? Bitcoin nodes, 20,000 spread across the world. There's going to be much more in the future. As soon as I plug mine in here, we're going to add to that. But that's how it audits itself. All these nodes are verifying the transactions, and every 10 minutes, a new copy of that balance sheet, that ledger, gets broadcast out to every person running a node. So it's self-audits. There's no auditors. You don't need to go verify the fact that we don't need to hire anybody to do it. Every single person, every 10 minutes running a node is the auditor. The network self-audits itself.
No licensure of the individuals involved, and there's no transparency in.
No licensure. Yeah, that's good. Why do you need to know? It's none of your fucking business. How about that? None of your business. How much money I have, how much Bitcoin I have. None of your business.
To it. That creates real systemic risk, not just risk for investors. But the other part that people don't really talk about enough are the dire externalities that are enabled by crypto.
What do you mean?
Every single crime you can conceive of is easier to do now because of crypto, especially ransomware, human sex trafficking, sanctions evasion.
Buzzword city. They always got to throw in the crime. They always got to throw in the trafficking. It's funny that the people yelling trafficking, you know, I don't want to make any assumptions here, but projection is real. Projection is real. And the Democrats are the worst at that. They always accuse everybody else of the things that they're guilty of. And I think that if you're trying to use Bitcoin as a way to commit crimes, you are the dumbest criminal on the planet, because it's all transparent. It audits itself. There's an open, transparent, honest ledger that gets sent out every 10 minutes. You want to commit a crime on there? What do you think would be easier to commit a crime with? Cash, where you just exchange it with somebody else? There's no actual trail of that cash moving. Do you think that's easier? Or would you rather dox your IP address, send Bitcoin to somebody else that everybody can see? What do you think would make more sense for a criminal to do? Cash or Bitcoin? Only the dumbest people on the planet would use Bitcoin to commit crimes. Does it happen? Probably. But in comparison to the dollar, in comparison to just handing somebody cash, it would be like a fraction of the crimes that are committed using cash.
Money laundering. North Korea is financing their nuclear weapons program using crypto.
Okay, North Korea is using crypto to finance their nuclear weapons program. So if North Korea was doing that with cash, this dipshit wouldn't even know they were doing it. So how is it that criminals would use crypto and Bitcoin to commit crimes, to build nuclear weapons programs? Why would they do that if everybody can see it? This is a double standard from this guy. He's saying that only criminals use it, but because they're using it, we know that they're doing it. If they did that with cash, this guy would have no idea that they were doing it. They just love throwing out these buzzwords. And like, I don't know if this is a point in the cycle where they're just trying their best to like paint Bitcoin with a negative brush, like the FUD is coming out right now. But like, none of that makes any sort of sense. 60 minutes, of course. But, unfortunately, there's a lot of people who watch 60 minutes and watch the news and trust these morons with information. So thanks, John. Thanks for being the next victim on Bitcoin Journey. Former SEC official John Reed Stark, also known as a 0 hours dipshit in this community. All right, what do we got going on Zapstream today? Lots of chats. Spaceman says, huge Start9 fanboy right here. Spaceman. Letha says she saved $60 confirmed. So if you're using that code 88 sats for Start9, you save about $60 US, which is, pretty good. And I got the Pure. That's what this one's called, the Pure. And it was the 4 terabyte one. All right. He makes crypto sound so sexy. Sex, crime, intrigue. Yeah, I agree. All terrorists ever want is pallets of US dollars cash. They never want Bitcoin. Exactly. Only the dumbest people on the planet would want to commit a crime with Bitcoin. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Maze Man, sorry I missed this. I don't know if you're still here or not, but what does KNG stand for? That is our golf company. I'll change the banner here for a second. Right there, King Golf. So it's KNG. It's called King Golf, but it's called KNG Golf. Stands for short for King, the highest standard. So we have hats, we have hoodies, and we have head covers. That's kind of our 3 main products that we sell. So if you're a golfer or just somebody who likes looking good, the website is knggolf.ca, knggolf.ca. And I always have products here. If you're watching this on YouTube, I always have our products kind of flashing by. There's, again, head covers, hats, and hoodies are kind of our 3 main products that we sell. But we make all the head covers right here in Manitoba by hand with locally sourced, genuine leather. Do I have any kicking around here? Yeah, I do. Oh, Arnie's awake. What's up, sleepyhead? What's up, sleepyhead? So this is one of our head covers. So it's genuine leather, handmade here in Manitoba. And this one's called the King. Pretty sharp. You can smell the real leather. What was I going to say on that? And that's actually who Arnie was named after as well. King Arnie. Arnold Palmer, the King. All right. What else we got here? Waro, good morning. Aspirado, good morning. Oh, Bank of Canada cut 50 basis points. Wow. Tell me your economy's in serious trouble without telling me your economy's in serious trouble. Derry Duke, right? This is it. The best expression I've ever heard. Converting fake money into real money. I'll get as many sats as I can for my children. We will spend them in real time and never convert all. It's a play. And Duncan here says, living in the future is a school for Bitcoiners. That's what it is now, and that's what it's going to be even more so in the future. And the nice thing about that is all the members of Living in the Future at December 31st are all going to benefit from that. So we're going to build it. The Bitcoiners, the future Bitcoiners are going to come, and the people who are here now, the people who have put in the work, are going to be the beneficiaries of that. Yeah, exactly. Captain Codeman says, I don't commit much crime, but if I did, I wouldn't document on a public ledger. All right, we got so many good chats in here today. I'm going to do a longer show today just because everybody's here, everybody's contributing. Oh, there we go. We got a new offer here, new offer from Dale. So not only are you going to save 15% using the 88 SAT discount code, but Dale's also going to send you some liquid, $10 USD, which is like $1,000 Canadian here. $10 USD in liquid with the starter kit or the multi-sig kit. Compliments of Blockstream will go till Christmas Day. You must call the office to receive it. Love that. Thank you, Dale. And that's what I love. It's like most businesses are like, yeah, we don't want people calling. We don't want to be bothered. And Dale's like, you know what? You have to call us if you want your USD, your liquid. Love that. Buck 52,000. I mean, this is sorry. I know we're kind of bouncing around everywhere here, but that's okay. But yeah, Eric Trump spoke at the Abu Dhabi Bitcoin conference yesterday. Very good speech. I've only listened to the first half of it and some clips, but wow. It's funny, in my old life, I thought that Eric Trump was just such a dipshit because I used to watch like SNL, like Saturday Night Live. And when Trump was first in office back in 2016, they made him look like an actual kid with special needs on SNL. And so I just thought he was a dummy. I never listened to him talk. I never heard any interviews with him. But man, that guy is so incredibly knowledgeable. On Bitcoin too, like if you listen to his speech, like you can tell that he's been around for a while. And I think I was talking to somebody who was actually at the conference, and they said that he mentioned Saylor and the fact that the Trumps have known Michael Saylor for 20 years. And so you start making some of these connections. You start connecting a few of these dots. You look at the Trumps, you look at Michael Saylor, you look at Howard Lutnick, you look at the CEO of NYDIG, I forget his name, but there's a group of these people, I believe, who've been working on this for a very long time. And I don't know if they know who Satoshi is, but I wouldn't count it out. So, I mean, it's crazy to me. It was Trump actually who led me to Bitcoin, because I knew, even though he came out and said that he wasn't a Bitcoiner, I knew that none of this would work. None of Trump's plans would work without Bitcoin. None of them. Galaxy Tile says, hearing MicroStrategy has been included in QQQ. Anyone else hear that? Yeah, that was the confirmation yesterday. Of course, I don't think the stock did very much, but it's because we're pretty early in this whole thing. How is the stock today looking? Oh, it's up. Look at that. It got over 400 today. So yeah, I guess people are, starting to realize that being included in an index like the QQQ is probably a pretty good thing. I think I saw that $2 billion minimum is going to flow into MicroStrategy just because of that, right? Because it's going to force all these people holding indexes now to own a piece of MicroStrategy. So lots of inflows through that. Bitcoin is not crypto. Bitcoin is hard money. The hardest money we've ever seen before, actually. 60-minute imbeciles are legions. Well put. Well put. All right. Yeah, I would agree with this, Derry Duke. This guy's a liar and probably owns Bitcoin. I mean, yeah, there's lots to catch up on. So SBW or SB Whalers says, first time I've been able to catch a live. Always enjoy your content. Pump up those likes, folks. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's good to have you here today. What are we at for likes right now? How are we looking? We've had a pretty successful day in the Zap department between Zapstream and the YouTube Zaps. So we got 69 people in here and we got 55 likes. Pretty good. Pretty good. Dale, I don't know if you're still in the chat here, but Kev's asking if you have WhatsApp for international callers. I'm sure he'll do that. I don't want to speak for him, but I'm sure they'll do that. Clean Your Machine Inc. Good day. I'm now living in the future. Journeyman. I have no sats yet, but quite a bit of that plastic fiat crap. You're in the right spot. I'll tell you that. You're in the right spot. Okay. Yeah, no, that's true, Jason. This is true. And this is actually what I thought of this morning. Jason says they've moved on to Bitcoin from Trump as the new boogeyman. Yeah. I agree with that. And I do think that even though we have Trump, we have the US, the strategic reserve coming. I do still think that they're going to be painting Bitcoiners. They're going to try to turn people on Bitcoiners. And we've been watching, I don't love listening to people like that talk, but I think it is important to hear what they're saying and because, you know that if they're saying that they're your friends and your family are going to be hearing the same talking points. So it's important to hear what they're saying and to have an answer to why they're full of shit. That's kind of why I like showing videos on here, is to give some people some ammunition. If you're in a situation where somebody's bringing up some of these buzzword bullshit talking points, you have a counter to that. Do you know how many people in the world own Bitcoin? I don't know. It's a good question. Mazeman says, I recommend the movie My Winnipeg. If you haven't seen it, surreal. Huh. How can I watch that? I'm always looking for new stuff, especially when it's minus 40 here. All right. One thing I've noticed on my channel in the last week, I would say, I don't know what's going on, but something weird is happening. And I don't know if YouTube's just automatically unsubscribing to people, but I keep seeing like, we'll post a video and we get like 10, 15 subscribers from that video. And then all of a sudden it drops by like 10 subscribers again. And it just keeps like staying around the same level right now. And so I don't know if YouTube's just getting rid of spam or whatever it is, but just make sure if you are a subscriber to the channel here, just double check that you're subscribing to it. Because I've seen this myself with other Bitcoin channels where I've been subscribed and then I check back a couple months later and they've unsubscribed for me. So just double check, just make sure that you're still subscribing to the channel. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people, I think 55% of people who watch the show don't subscribe. So I'm not going to try to convince you to, but if you were a subscriber, just make sure that you're subscribed. Ginger, just ordered a starter kit 20 minutes ago. Wow, QuickBit's buzzing today. QuickBit is buzzing today. Right. Okay, so let's get to what I want to talk about today, mostly. I only got 10 minutes here, so we got to make this fast. All right, so I titled the show today, Your Own Personal Bitcoin Journey. And I think that, you know, after everything we've talked about today, I think that this is a really good segment to have right now because it just shows that everybody's in such different parts of their Bitcoin journey. Like we have people talking about multi-sig, some people ordering some multi-sig kits, and then we have people who don't know what Lightning is, like what a Lightning wallet is and what the difference is between layer 1 and Lightning. So it just goes to show that everybody here, even in this very small sample, is in a much different place in their Bitcoin journey. And so what I want to talk about today is just have a good sense of awareness, self-awareness around where you are in your journey. Because it's very easy to get distracted. It's very easy to look at other people in Bitcoin and say, you know, I wish I was them. I wish I would have got into Bitcoin 5 years ago. I wish I could have as many sats in Bitcoin as they have. And it's very easy to start comparing yourself. And I think that that's the worst thing that you can possibly do. And as we move forward here in the next 12 months, like you're going to see some people, whether it's with MicroStrategy, whether it's with a different cryptocurrency, you're going to see a lot of people making a lot of money. And when people see that, their first initial reaction is to say, hey, I want that. I want to learn what they're doing. I want to start chasing that. I need to have more, right? I'm new to this, so I need to play catch up. And I think you just need to realize that even if you just got into it today, I think anybody who's here in 2024, and that's why we actually cut off the Living in the Future December 31st, because 2024, if you're here now, if you're watching this, if you happen to come across this channel, like you're so far ahead of everybody else. And so just understand where you are. Don't try to do too much. Don't get distracted. Stay focused on adding value as much as you can to the world, getting some value back, whether that's in fiat or Bitcoin, and converting that into Bitcoin. That's your main concern. Don't get distracted. Stay focused. Add value. Earn fiat or Bitcoin, and whatever you have in fiat, convert that into Bitcoin. That's the only thing that you can control. It's the only thing that you should be focused on. And you look at somebody like Michael Saylor, and yes, he's using Bitcoin as his vehicle for where he's made $10 billion in the last 4 years in profit. He's using Bitcoin as that vehicle. But the one thing that Saylor has done better than anybody else is stay focused. He's been very clear on his goal, his direction, and he hasn't wavered from that at all. And I think that that's why so many people have got on board with a guy like Saylor, is because his laser eyes isn't just related to Bitcoin, it's focus. And so I'll give you an example of kind of what, and I was going to talk about this on Monday for MicroStrategy Mondays, but this is going to be a MicroStrategy Wednesday today. But think about with MicroStrategy, and I'll give you a personal experience. That's something I went through this week with MicroStrategy, because I'm trying to stay up to date. I'm trying to learn as much as I can about MicroStrategy so I can explain it to the audience here as best that I can. So I'm trying to take in as much information as I can about MicroStrategy and the convertible debt, the ATM, all the different things that they're doing, the call options. And so I started listening to this podcast over the weekend. And they were talking about, I think there was one guy that just retired from his job because of MicroStrategy. And he said that he can basically earn enough income using call options within MicroStrategy to never have to work again. And I was thinking, like, man, I would like that. Not that I wouldn't work, but I would like to be in a position where I don't have to worry about, a bad month or a bad, getting kicked off of YouTube for a month or whatever it is, or strike. I don't want to have to worry about that. This seems like a way better strategy for me. I want to learn how to sell call options with MicroStrategy. But then I stopped myself and I said, you know what? The people who are utilizing this strategy, the people who can benefit from this strategy right now, got into MicroStrategy when it was like $100. Before the stock split, $100. And so then I thought, you know what? Like they put in the time. They've been there. They've earned it. And I don't want to get too far out of myself here. I don't want to start learning about calls and putting my MicroStrategy at risk and, getting caught up in the leverage game. I don't need that. I'm not there yet. I wasn't there early enough to benefit where they are today. But in 4 years from now, who knows? Because if you think about it, like they've been there for a few years, they've earned that. They put in the time, they put in the work, and that's where they are today. So I thought, in 4 years from now, if I look 4 years out here, and let's say that Bitcoin has a pretty big year in 2025, I'm expecting MicroStrategy to be, double, triple, maybe more. And so if you think about that, there's going to be more stock splits, right? And the main takeaway I got from this whole conversation is like, you need a lot of MicroStrategy you need a lot of MicroStrategy and you need a lot of knowledge for that to be successful. And so I was thinking, like, a couple of years down the road, maybe they do another stock split or another one after that. And all of a sudden, let's say I have 10 shares in MicroStrategy, all of a sudden that becomes 100. And then it becomes 1,000. And then I have 1,000 MicroStrategy shares, and I'm actually able to do more with that with less risk involved. So instead of just like trying to get into this as fast as I can, learn, put all my stuff at risk, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to focus on earning as much as I can, buying as many shares in MicroStrategy as I can. And then I'll see a stock split. And all of a sudden I'll have 100 shares in MicroStrategy. And then again, maybe 1,000 in a couple of years from now. And when I have that, I'll probably have more knowledge about how to utilize this stuff and properly leverage it without potentially losing it all. But you have to be at that stage where you have enough of it where it makes sense for you. And you cannot shortcut that. That's kind of the point of what I wanted to talk about today, is that you can't shortcut that. You can't shortcut the time that they were there, and you can't shortcut the work that they put in to get to where they are today. So that was kind of my main takeaway from like the whole MicroStrategy call options using leverage, is like, I'm not there yet, and I'm not going to pretend like I'm there yet. So what I'm going to do is just add as much value as I can, buy as many MicroStrategy shares as I can, wait for this thing to play out, have some patience, keep learning about it. And then when the time comes, maybe that'll be me one day, but that's not today. So you have to have the self-awareness. You have to have enough, understanding of where you are right now to know that you don't need everything today. You cannot shortcut this stuff. So that's kind of what the point I wanted to get across today is with Bitcoin, with MicroStrategy, with this whole thing, is that you have to put in the work and you have to be patient. And if you try to get too far ahead of that, if you try to skip that phase, then you're going to get burned badly. And I think that that's a good lesson for anybody out there who's trying to get things quicker than they deserve, whether that's through the leverage play, the 2x T-Rex MicroStrategy play. You know, I made the mistake. I got burned. I've learned from it. I'm not doing that again because I don't know enough about it. I'm not going to keep trying to shortcut this. I'm going to put in my time. I'm going to add value. I'm going to accumulate as much as I can Bitcoin and MicroStrategy. And when the time is right, I'll be in that position as well. But I can't get distracted. I can't lose focus. And I can't try to shortcut this thing. So that's what I want to say on that. Be aware, and that's one part of it. That also includes your hardware devices. That also includes everything around Bitcoin. Is like, just don't try to do too much too fast. It's very easy to look at people who have been in Bitcoin for 5-10 years and be like, oh man, I wish that was me. Well, it can be you. If you stay focused, you put in the work, and you have patience, that can be you. It's just not today. But they've been here. They put in the work already. So that's my something to think about for everybody today. Just be patient. All right, I got another meeting here right away with one of our favorite people. One of my favorite people. All right. Kyle, 100K all day. How we looking? I'm actually going to have to cancel the second part of the show today. I'm not going to have time. And I mean, it's probably better if I'm going to let people catch up. I was going to do a live show today and answer some questions on the future of living the future and the new 8 Satoshis venture. But I'll let people watch it. I'll let people sleep on it. And maybe we'll do something tomorrow or Friday or next week as kind of I originally intended. But I got a lot of good feedback on it. So I wanted to see what people were thinking. And but we can wait for that. We can wait for that. So again, the one thing I would say there, though, is just consider joining. Consider joining the Living the Future. Watch that video. It's 30 minutes long. I gave the whole, like a very big picture sense of where this thing's going and how people are going to benefit from it in the future. And it's not just going to be the people who are there. Everybody's going to benefit from it. It's going to turn into a literal Bitcoin network / university. That's what this thing's going to evolve into. And the cutoff date is December 31st. So anybody who is a member on that date is going to be a part of this if they choose to. And don't worry, if you're a member, Living the Future member, or you just want to join, be part of the Signal chat, the Discord chat, nothing's going to change for you. You're not going to be forced into doing anything. It's going to be the exact same business as usual for 2025 and probably 2026 as well. So if you're interested in joining, like a lot of people have in the last 24 hours, just click the link, join Living in the Future. Bodhi says, Trump had at least one speech where he alluded to the future that would be better than people can imagine. Yep. If you're a thinking person, it should have made you think. I mean, Trump's thing from the very beginning has always been the best is yet to come. And people just kind of thought that was a catchphrase or an election claim, but like he means it. Oh my God, look at Arnie. He's snoring. He is zonked. Dutchy says, I'm surprised Tucker gave Roger Ver the opportunity to spread his bullshit on such a huge platform. I didn't watch that yet, but I've heard there was lots of BS there. Roger is a sneaky rat. Yeah, I agree with that. You can't trust that fella. But shout out to somebody sent in 50 sats to the YouTube Zap stream, and somebody sent in 500 sats to Arnie's wallet. So say thanks, Arnie. $100K. Paul's in the chat. Morning, Paul. Big shout out to Paul. He was one of our first contributors of the Bitcoin Amigos channel. He sent in a couple super chats actually, and so we were able to start our Bitcoin treasury for the Bitcoin Amigos. 100K, just like nothing. So that's kind of tight. It's like nothing. Adam, good morning. Adam's in the chat this morning, and Paul says cheers. Thanks to you, Paul. Appreciate everything, man. Derry Duke says, I don't know, buying MicroStrategy shares is not buying Bitcoin, not your keys, not your coins. I agree with that. And if you're a normal watcher of the show, you would know that that's what I always say. Any money you got outside of the system should 100% be in Bitcoin, not MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy How about now? We back? Back in black. Oh, you know what I just realized? We're going to have to still? Okay. No video now. What the hell's going on? Yeah. So you guys didn't hear any of that. Okay. That's tough. Basically what I said, I'll try this for the third time now, but basically what I said was even Michael Saylor agrees. He says the phrase, there is no second best. You guys can hear me, right? Okay. There is no second best to Bitcoin. There is no second best crypto asset. There is no second best asset to Bitcoin. Saylor says that. Saylor believes that himself. And I guarantee if you ask Saylor the question, said, I have $100,000 in cash right now. What should I buy, Bitcoin or MicroStrategy? He would say buy Bitcoin. Take self-custody of that Bitcoin. It's the best asset you can own. MicroStrategy is a vehicle for the people who can't do that and the people who already have money in the existing traditional system. So don't get confused. I'm not telling people to buy MicroStrategy instead of Bitcoin. It is just a great tool for the money you have in the traditional world. Hey, Paul, we got a super chat, $10. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate that, my friend, very much. Very much. And Paul says, don't buy MicroStrategy, only Bitcoin. Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that. If you have cash, if you have money available that's not tied up anywhere, you should 1,000% be buying Bitcoin with that. There is no second best to Bitcoin. But if you have money in your pension stuck somewhere that you can only access, that's why MicroStrategy has been so successful, is because of the amount of capital that is not allowed to buy Bitcoin. That's why MicroStrategy has become what it has, because of that. So if you are somebody who has money trapped in the traditional system, then MicroStrategy, I believe, is the play. Better than an ETF, better than a mining share, better than owning Apple. That's the play. But if you have any money outside of the system, Bitcoin absolutely is the play in self-custody. Letha says, my kids won't listen to me about Bitcoin. Maybe I'll tell them to get their MicroStrategy in their retirement accounts. I mean, that's one good way to do it. That's one good way to do it. I mean, you could start paying their allowance in sats, Letha. Just get them a Lightning wallet and watch the money stack up. Or watch it become more and more valuable. Okay, I got to wrap things up here. So where should we end? Where should we end? I see Ahsoka sent in 88 sats through Zapstream. So thank you for that. And thank you to everybody who zapped today. Once again, if you would like to support our favorite dog, who is completely unconscious right now. He stuck around the whole show today, though. We got to give him some props. He usually just teases us for a while. So that's his banner. If if you've been on the channel for a while, if you've been learning anything or just entertained for a couple hours every day and you want to give some value back, you can send it to our good friend Arnie here. You can use this QR code or this address right here, Adopted Son 98. If you don't want to use the QR code, Adopted Son 98 at waldofsatoshi.com. That's one way to do it. The other one would be to join the channel as a Bitcoin Journeyman, $3 a month. It basically just supports the channel. And you get access to the full shows when we do them. So that's a good option. You could send in a super chat like Paul did today, or join Living the Future. I think that's probably your best bet in terms of value. You know, it's one thing to want to support people, but you might as well get something back too outside of just supporting the channel here. So if you want to join Living the Future, that's in the show notes as well. If you have any questions, if you want to set up like a 10, 15-minute call just to chat, I know that they usually turn into more than that. So I'm going to have to start capping those a little bit or being more particular to the time and more strict on the time. But just set up a call and let me know where you're at. Let me know where you want to go. And I'll tell you how to get there as best in the most safe and efficient way possible. So the last thing I would say here to kind of round out the show, and I haven't talked about this a whole lot, but I'm starting to see that there is a demand for this. And I'm seeing that because we've had 3 or 4 people join this in the last 2 weeks. So on the Patreon, if you go to the same link using Living the Future there's a tier called Very Important Bitcoiners. That's a new tier that I added there. So obviously it's a little bit more money because you're getting a lot of value in exchange from it. So you get the normal stuff, you get the Signal chat, you get the Discord chat, the channel. But on top of that, you get one session with me every month. So that's the VIBs. That's a Very Important Bitcoiners. And I think that that's for anybody who has, I'd say 50 million sats. That's kind of the threshold. I was saying 1 Bitcoin, but I really think that we're underestimating how valuable those 50 million sats are today, just because the fiat price says otherwise. But if you got 50 million sats and you feel like you're kind of too far ahead of your skis here a little bit, you've gone in too deep, you bought too much and you don't know what to do with it, or you're thinking about buying a substantial amount, this VIP thing is going to be a 1 per month session with me. And again, we'll look at what you got. We'll lay out a strategy. We'll monitor it every month. We'll answer any questions, set up a hardware device, set up a node, everything that you need at a very good pace. And again, I'm saying this now because I know that there is demand for this out there. And so it's about 60% off my regular rate. And it's consistent. The one thing that you need when you're first getting into Bitcoin is consistency, accountability, and building the proper foundation there. So that's what this is going to allow for. So if you're interested in that, check out the Patreon channel. You can join. And if you'd rather pay in Bitcoin, you can do that as well. If you'd rather skip the credit card stuff, if you'd rather skip the KYC, you can pay in Bitcoin as well. I don't have that on the website, but that's just me telling you right now. It's going to boil down to MicroStrategy versus BlackRock. Yeah, probably. I mean, both those companies are going to have more Bitcoin than any other country. So power usually influence usually follows the money. So I agree. Josh says, I have a TFSA, Paul. I'm putting dividend paying stocks and ETFs in it. I'm also putting MicroStrategy in there. Asset allocation. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. I love the TFSA play. If you can get, I mean, it also depends. Like I'm kind of under the opinion that we're not going to have to pay tax on Bitcoin, period. So it's going to be much easier, I think. But like for now, that is a pretty good strategy in terms of putting some money into a tax sheltered account in MicroStrategy. And then you get to see the gains accrue tax free. Okay. So we're going to leave it there for today. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to everybody who's just been showing up here, supporting the channel, supporting QuickBit, supporting Bitcoin well. I mean, if you don't have money you want to contribute to the channel, you know, there are ways to do it, whether that's sharing clips, commenting, liking, and just being here more than anything else, and supporting our partners of the show like QuickBit and Bitcoin Well, Start 9. Just take a quick look today. If you got 5 minutes right now, just look through the show notes, see what we have for referral links in there. If you need anything like that, it's there. That's a really good way to support the channel. So Arnie's awake. Zane has just showed up, and we're going to call her a day. So thank you once again. I hope you learned something today, or at least had some fun. So somebody just sent in 1,500 sats to the wallet. So thank you for that. What a generous fucking community we have here. All right. Have a great day, everybody. Happy hump day. Hope you get a hump in. And everybody say bye to our good pal, Arnie. Thanks, Paul. Back at you, my friend. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.